Okay, let's get right to it. First example for our video series. Let's see here. We have example one where 5,000 rand is invested in a bank, and we are required to calculate the accumulated amount after 3 years if the interest rate is 3.75% per annum, which basically means per year. Every year you get 3.75% on that 5,000 rand that you've invested. Simple interest or compound interest. So that's just the difference here. Either it's simple or it's compound. So we're gonna do both, I think, simultaneously. So let's start here with A. I'm gonna just write solution to both problems basically. So I'm gonna do it because this is per year, per annum. So I'm gonna do it annually. You'll see that after each year, after the first year, okay, with A, this is how it will be, the accumulated amount that we are interested in. So the accumulated amount, I'm going to just call it A, is going to be 5,000 rands plus 3.75% of 5,000 rands. Okay, and that is going to be what? Let me just write it again. 5,000 rands plus 3.75 divided by 100, that's percentage of, you put multiplication there, R5123. Then you can maybe simplify it further. 5,000 rands plus I'm just doing the long calculation so that everyone understands how to do the calculation, but at some point we're gonna skip some of the steps. I'm just calculating now. This is 187 rand 50 cents. So this is gonna be 5,187 rand 50 cents. This is how much the investment will be worth. The accumulated amount will be at the end of the first year. So with B as well, it's going to be pretty much the same, because essentially at the end of the first year, if it's compounding, we are still only having 5,000 rand and we are getting 3.75% of 5,000 rand. So I'm not going to really waste a lot of my time here. I'm going to take this, just copy it and paste it here, if it will allow me. Of course, sometimes technology will disappoint you in front of everyone. Okay, nah, not gonna really be embarrassed by this. Okay, so it does not seem to be coming through, but yeah, there it is. Came through. Yeah, I just wanted to basically indicate that in the first year, both the compound and the simple interest approaches, they will yield the same amount, and the calculation is more or less just the same. Okay, so hence I'm keeping it like that. So let's look at after the second year as to how this will differ, because that's where compound and simple interest start to differ. So after the second year, the accumulated amount will now be, with the simple interest, it's gonna be this amount of R 5,187.50 plus 3.75% of what? Of the original amount. This is where the main difference comes in, is that with simple interest you have the original, you have the balance at the beginning of that year, which is 5,187.50 plus 3.75% of the original amount. The interest rate is always on the original amount. The original amount, we started with 5,000 Rand, which is what was invested. Hence, we are always going to reference that. And we have already calculated this to be 187.5. Okay, so now it's just a matter of adding 187.5 plus 187.5 again. Then that is 5,375.0. Okay, hope that is correct. Just confirm that as well on your side. 187.5, 187.5. Okay, so with compound interest, however, the accumulated amount is going to be a bit different, because this takes into consideration that we have a new balance. Now we have 5,187 at the beginning of the second year, and we are getting an interest on that particular balance, not on the original amount. We are getting 3.75% of the current balance, which is 5,187 Rand 50 cents. Okay, that's where the main difference is. Here, I'm just gonna try to use a different color. This is where the main difference is. Okay, I hope you now get to understand the difference between compound and simple interest. And look at these values. They become 5,187.50 plus, what is 3.75%? Definitely more than 187. 3.75% of 5,187.5. Okay, that is 194.53. But because this is not the final answer, so I'm going to write it as 53125. Everything that comes from the calculator, basically just break down. And yeah. Okay, and I'm just gonna add these two values, 5,187.5, and I get 5,382.03125. I hope everyone now understands how I got here. So you can already see that after the second year, or after 2 years, with compound interest, having invested the same amount, you will be having more money in your account. In this case, you have 5,382 Rand 3 cents, and with simple interest, you will have 5,375. 75 is less than 82. Okay, so it's always best, if you're trying to accumulate wealth, to go with compound interest. So let's do the last calculation to see after the third year, how much will this amount be? Okay, because the calculation was asking us to calculate the accumulated amount after 3 years. So we are looking at the third year, which is year number 3. So the accumulated amount after 3 years with simple interest is going to be what you have at the beginning of that year, which is 5,375 Rand plus 3.75%, because every year you are gaining an interest. But with simple, it's always interest on the original amount, so it will remain that original 5,000 Rand, which is the one that you gain interest on. Okay, and we had already calculated that this is going to be 5,375 plus 187.5. So every year you are gaining an interest of 187 Rand 50 cents. So what will then be the total? 5,375 plus 187.5. What's the total there? The total is 5,562 Rand 0.50. Okay, that's how much the accumulated amount is with simple interest. And with compound interest, if we were to try to do the same thing, how will it be? What will be the accumulated amount? The accumulated amount is going to be what you're starting with. In this particular case, is going to be 5,382 rand 03125. You see, I said we keep all the digits from the calculator because this was not the final answer, to avoid getting the wrong answer. That's how it is as a rule of thumb with mathematics, particularly financial mathematics in this case. Keep that in mind. And we're gaining 3.75% on this opening balance with compound interest, which is different from simple interest. Okay, you had 5,000 rands. In this particular one, we are having 5,000. I'm going to say 5,003. Okay, I need to calm down. 5,382.03125. So then let's do the calculation. 5,382.03125 plus, just gonna try that, 3.75% of 5,382.03125. Okay, these are 201.8261,719. Okay, let's just add these two values and see how much it is. 5,382.03125. Okay, the total here is 5,582 rand 86 cents. Okay, this is the final answer that we are looking for, and you see the difference in comparison to simple interest. With simple interest, your total accumulated amount at the end of 3 years, it's 5,562 rand 50 cents. But with compound interest, it's higher, which is higher by, this seems a bit wrong because the amount by which it is high is like 40, is it 20 rand? I'm doubting this calculation now. Usually with compound interest, I'm expecting a higher return than what I'm seeing here. So, but yeah, the procedure was correct. Maybe somewhere I did get the mathematics wrong, but for your own and my own sanity, I'm gonna do double checking to ensure that I got this calculation correct, because usually I don't feel right when I don't get answers which make sense. Plus 3.75% of 5,000, then I get that. This first part is correct, and then the second part plus 3.75% of 5,187.5. Okay, this one was also correct. Plus 3.75% of 5,382.03125, which is yeah, I'm getting a different answer now. Not sure what went wrong. Yeah, maybe I just didn't write this thing correctly. I think that's probably why I lost it. Yeah, this is 583. Yeah, 583. Okay, now this answer looks much more better, because you basically have a difference of, I'm trying to get the difference between these two values, 5,562.5. Okay, you have 21 rand. About 21 rand 36 cents. Yeah, that's the difference in between. But the point here which matters the most is the fact that compound interest gives you higher returns than simple interest. So it is indeed true that if you want to accumulate wealth, you should consider compound interest over long term over simple interest, because as you can see, every year you get more in terms of the interest in comparison to having taken a simple interest. The first year you got 187 rand 50 cents, second year you get 194 rand 53 cents, in the third year you get 201 rand 83 cents. So it always goes up, the amount of interest that you get with compound interest in comparison to simple interest, where it's always the same. As you can see, it's always 187.5. This is the interest you earn at the end of every year. Okay. I hope now I've taken enough time explaining this and you thoroughly understand the difference between the two. You could see this is a tedious exercise. I took so much time here. Going forward, we will learn how to use the formula so that we can save ourselves a lot of time and avoid doing this tedious exercise. However, we'll be doing that with a good understanding of how the formulas came about. And yeah, this is basically the lengthy explanation of how to do this. Thank you very much. See you in the next video.